think I have that turned down some. Let's turn that down a little bit just to be sure. Let's see. What's up, Colts Nation? Been a minute since I could make some content, but we are back. Getting power back down here in Florida. And able to finally, get online, get some things going. Was hoping to stream during the game and was about to, but some stuff came up that I had to deal with. But nonetheless, we are here. We are live here after the Titans game. Colts able to pull out a W. What's up? See a couple people chilling in here. What's up? Appreciate y'all stopping by. Justin, what's up, man? Yeah, ugly win. And that's really the takeaway from this game for me is Zaire Franklin a couple weeks ago said you have to learn to win in different ways. Well, we went through an ugly game, not the most efficient day on offense, which has kind of been the story with Joe Flacco. Not incredibly efficient, but it has its moments. And then, running the ball. It wasn't like we were putting up a bunch of yards, a bunch of points in this game, end up with 20 points. But being able to win an ugly game, something that needed to happen, especially when you look at, it's just a lot of these games are going to be ugly because of who our injuries are, right? And everything that's going on with that. Of course, DeForest Buckner is out, and no telling when he'll be back. And report coming out earlier this week, don't expect DeForest Buckner to come back anytime soon, really. So who knows when he'll be back. But overall, all the injuries, Jonathan Taylor not playing, Anthony Richardson not playing, which we'll definitely talk about. Just want to give people more time to get in here before we really, dive deep into it. But coming out of this one again, being able to win an ugly game through all the circumstances that we face, exactly what you want to see. Coming out of this one, now we're 3-3, still giving ourselves a chance to do something in the AFC. That's really all you want to do, right? Is just try to keep the opportunity available to do something later in the season. As I sit here, looking at some stuff that I did on Sleeper, their little picks section. Needed Brian Thomas to get over 58.5 yards. He only got 27. Jaden Reed needed him to get 63.5 receiving yards. He only got 28. Oh, and Saquon needed him to get over 18.5 carries. He got 18 exactly. Unfortunate. That's the way that usually goes, though. But, yeah, come back to the Colts. Yeah, no, again, this isn't a game. I was watching on and off. Didn't watch the very beginning of it. But saw the touchdown catch that Josh Downs had. I was watching intermittently, getting my eyes on the game here and there. Just looking at the stats, it seemed like both teams really not really getting anything going on offense. And could that be attributed to the defenses? Sure. Colts, let's see if I can find team stats here. Looking at team stats, we only had 5 penalties today, which is good. Time possession basically split right down the middle. Third down efficiency, we were 46%. They were 36%. So defense from that aspect, good job. I know early in the game they had stopped the Titans on a few, but the Titans also, I saw scored a touchdown on a 3rd and 19 run, which how are we letting that happen? Not the ideal game, what you're looking for from your team, but with what the Colts were working with, it's hard to really, get upset with the result, right? Getting a win when you have so many different guys out starting this game, which is one thing We've been starting games out a little quicker recently, which is exactly what we talked about after we started 0-2. We talked about, hey, we need to jump on teams. We need to get up on teams and really assert our dominance early, and being able to score a touchdown early helps. Excuse me. And then, getting the punt for the defense, major key. I thought we were going to go down, get some more points on the board. Well, Joe Flacco throws an interception, and then they score a touchdown off of that, right? And then from there, it was just up and down through the rest of the game, right? We score that touchdown, then we have the interception, then a punt. My apologies. And then we have another punt in the second quarter. Then we finally get a field goal, 26-yard field goal by Matt Gay. Keep him short because that's what he can hit. And then going into the second half is where we come out, score more points. Or I'm sorry, I'm looking at. This looks like, okay, they just don't have everything here. I'm looking on NFL.com, looking at drive by drive, and they only had one drive in the third quarter. Okay, I see why it's like that. The Titans have their drive, which takes up 8 minutes, 41 seconds, and we start driving and then score field goal early in the fourth quarter. Okay, and then, the touchdown in the fourth quarter, 13-play drive, taking 5 minutes, 23 seconds. That's great, but it's what comes after that I didn't like. The part of the game that I had my eyes on is where the Colts end up going 4 plays, 1 minute, 29 seconds, punt the ball. 4 plays, minute, 3 seconds, punt the ball. And then 6 plays, 2 minutes, 6 seconds, punt the ball. Now, of course, on that last drive, it was more the objective just to burn timeouts, keep the clock running. We took the Titans' last couple timeouts, got the clock down. By the time they got the punt, they only had 12 seconds to work with, right? And then it was playing the lateral game after that. So I just wish we would finish better, right? We did good with our first 2 possessions there in the second half. Again, excuse me, sheesh. And then going punt and then punt again, right? You have the Titans who after their touchdown drive, their last touchdown drive, they go punt, interception. We get the ball back. Like, at some point, you got to be able to finish them off. Keep the ball, finish them off instead of giving them the ball back, giving them opportunities. Luckily, it's just Will Levis and the Titans offense. They're not very good. So, thankfully, our defense stood up. They were able to stop, right? They did what they were expected to do, which is shut down the Titans offense. They were able to get that done. So, got to give them their credit with when it comes to that. But nonetheless, being able to start good and being able to have these quick starts on offense is great. But now we got to be able to finish, right? Which is kind of opposite, right? You have Joe Flacco, who come well, and I guess Anthony Richardson during the Pittsburgh game comes out, leads them on 2 scoring drives. Joe Flacco just happens to finish one of those off. But being able to start earlier, and we're seeing overtime with Joe Flacco in the game, we're seeing that there is proof in the pudding that the offense is much more dynamic when you have, of course, Jonathan Taylor, but Anthony Richardson specifically, and what he brings to the table, right? What he brings as a runner, what he brings as a passer, the things that he can do are like none other. So with his abilities, Jonathan Taylor, assuming Jonathan Taylor comes back next week, it sounded like maybe he could practice this week. That didn't end up happening. So I hope he's able to come back to start practicing next week, get him and Anthony Richardson together. And I feel like, with, good Lord, with all the different injuries, right? Offensive line injuries, Jonathan Taylor's not there. Wide receivers not at 100% and not guaranteed to finish the game. Maybe there was a thought, hey, Let's just keep Joe Flacco in there, veteran presence. We can go ahead, suit up AR, and if we need him to play, even if anything happens to Flacco, AR can play. But with all these other injuries, with him coming off let's just go ahead, sit him for this week. He practiced last week. Let's let him see Joe operate the game and how he carries himself throughout a game, especially a game like this. Good for AR to see him, start good, then team has to overcome adversity, and then again come out in the second half, be able to put up some points. And with Anthony Richardson, you would assume at some point gonna be able to put more points on the board with those extra possessions. The punt after 24 seconds by Tennessee. If we're able to put up points there, game basically over. After the interception, we put up points there, game basically over. We can do that with Anthony Richardson. Now, there was an opportunity for points. Joe Flacco missed a pass, right? Had Alec Pierce, got past the corner, got past the safety on the left sideline. Joe Flacco overthrew it by a little bit, or else that one would have been a catch and score touchdown by Alec Pierce 2 weeks in a row. That would have been a big time touchdown. Numbers for Alec Pierce and for Joe Flacco would look a lot better. Joe Flacco, the numbers for him coming out of this game. Anyways, let me find my cursor. There we go. Numbers for Joe Flacco in this game: 22 for 38, 189, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. So he's throwing a lot. Now, we haven't had Jonathan Taylor, so that plays into it. Tyler Goodson, 8 carries, 51 yards. Trey Sermon, 18 carries, 29 yards. They were all over Trey Sermon. No room to breathe for him. But then receivers for this game, you look at some of the stats for these guys. And we have Josh Downs, 9 targets today. Guy that was dealing with a toe injury. Wasn't sure if he was going to be able to play today, but he ends up with 7 catches on 9 targets, 66 yards, and a touchdown. Pitt, who looked like he was going on IR. They were talking about him going on IR. And he ends up playing in this game, 3 catches, 35 yards, and a touchdown. Incredible touchdown catch by Pitt. Incredible to come out here and to be able to not only come out and play, but to have an effect on the game, right? It was 3rd down on that touchdown catch when Joe Flacco was getting blitzed. He just threw it up to his guy and said, hey, I trust you to go get it. And Pittman, despite the injury coming in, Pittman goes up and gets the ball. You love to see, right? Pitt, an absolute dog. Josh Downs, obviously an absolute dog. So those two coming in and playing was huge. Mo Alley Cox had a huge catch. 22 of his 41 yards come on the first drive on a catch from Joe Flacco. Ends the game, 4 catches, 41 yards. You see Joe Flacco really enjoys using him, as using Drew Ogletree as well. 2 catches, 24 yards. That's been a theme, and that's one thing that I think AR coming into it, that's what he can learn, right? Joe Flacco has all this underneath stuff, and he's just taking what the defense is going to give him. AR can move around, and that gets him in trouble sometimes. He thinks, oh, let me just move around, and I'll get the ball out here and just yak it down the field to somebody or in the middle of the field and try to get 20, 25 yards. Or, hey, let's try to get a huge play here, 50, 60 yards. A lot of that from Anthony Richardson. But where you have Joe Flacco and what Anthony Richardson can learn is that, hey, it's okay. You can still win taking what the defense gives you. You can still score taking what the defense gives you, because eventually the defense is going to stop wanting to give you that, and that's where you have to take your opportunity and make sure you see it and read it right and hit it when it's there, right? Like the Alec Pierce throw. Anthony might hit that thing, right? So going forward, that's what it's going to be about. Of course, we want to see the development from Anthony Richardson, and what we saw at the beginning of that Pittsburgh game over those first 2 drives, the throws he was making, the decisions he was making. Hey, let's make those decisions. Let's make those throws. Let's keep the mechanics right. Keep your feet right. Get your feet set when you can, right? Sometimes you're going to have to make an off-platform throw. It's just what it is for quarterbacks. But nonetheless, Anthony, we saw it. Right, just like last season, which is what I've continued to preach. Last season we saw it when he was playing game by game, even though he had the injury and got the concussion in week 2, had to miss week 3. We saw it with Anthony Richardson. What he needed to work on, he worked on and got better at it as he continued to get the reps in real time. That's what it's going to be. He's had a chance to see Joe Flacco and how he operates the offense for basically 3 weeks now, and he sees, okay, these are the things that a veteran quarterback is doing, decisions he's making. These are things that I need to incorporate in my game to get better and to make this offense more versatile. It's great to be explosive. It's great and it's so fun to watch when you're able to have those explosive plays through the pass game, those huge throws, and Alec Pierce going up and getting the ball or just outrunning his guy. Whatever the case may be, it's exciting to watch. But at some point, like for the offense, and I'm sure for them, exciting to play that way. But at some point, right, that's when you need Jonathan Taylor back, and you need Jonathan Taylor to be averaging 5-6 yards a carry because the threat of Anthony Richardson needs to protect himself when he decides to keep it. If you have to slide at the line of scrimmage, slide at the line of scrimmage. Not ideal, but slide, right? Or if you can Lamar Jackson that thing and you can spin away from somebody and just dive up for a couple yards, whatever you have to do, that's what he's going to do. He knows what he needs to work on. He's going to continue to work on it. And I have faith in the person. Excuse me. See, I have faith that Anthony Richardson's going to know I need to work on this, and because he knows how great he wants to be, I have faith that he's going to be able to get the job done. So going forward, that's really what I'm looking for. I know there's going to be a discussion about Anthony Richardson and Joe Flacco and who should start, and I'll have my own video on that because that's going to be a hot topic. But Anthony Richardson going forward, like, I just think it's asinine to think that it could be somebody else, right? Anthony Richardson has to get the reps if he's going to get better. So going forward, I expect it to be Anthony Richardson. If he's healthy, he's ready to go. Again, I just think it was more precautionary. I do think there is a little bit of a, hey, we can't just keep coddling this guy. I know he's still young, right? You know, now that what's his name? Not Mac Jones, Drake May. Now that Drake May is starting in New England, Anthony Richardson no longer the youngest starting quarterback in the NFL, but it's not by a lot that he's the second youngest, and so he's still young, but you can't coddle him. So you can't coddle the kid. So we need to find a balance. When he's on the field, we're better. Joe Flacco is safer for sure. That's the argument, is Joe Flacco's safer. But with Anthony Richardson on the field, we have more potential. We have to realize that potential. I think it's clear with the way the defense is. Like, we ain't winning the Super Bowl this year anyways. So I don't know if there's really any discussion with that. I think we're all realistic enough to know you're probably not winning a Super Bowl. So play Anthony. Like, that's where that discussion comes to. Just play Anthony Richardson. Let him get the experience. Let the offense get the experience. AD's going to need some experience through the season as well. But at the moment, we're competitive. We come out of this 3-3. It's been an ugly first 6. A lot of key injuries, man. A lot of key injuries. But getting a lot of guys back, right? Ryan Kelly comes back. Will Fry's obviously out for the year. But which in the last video that I had speculated, hey, maybe he can come back. I didn't know the extent of his injury. I later, after recording and putting that out, I ended up seeing a replay of the injury that we never saw, and gross. You don't need to see it, just know it's gross. And there's a reason he had to stay in Jacksonville, get surgery. He'll be back next year, right? But for the time being, we have Tanner Bortolini, we have Dalton Tucker, and I'd honestly be interested to know who exactly was playing on offense today. I didn't pay attention to whether it was Tucker or Bortolini. I feel like I saw Bortolini possibly on the field. I'm sitting here looking at the game real quick. Gonna see if I can't figure it out. Looks like That looks like, yeah, Dalton Tucker. So it was Dalton Tucker at right guard. I just wanted to see real quick. Yeah, we had Dalton Tucker at right guard, but Tanner Bortolini in the future. We'll see what happens with the interior of the line, right? Will Fries, does he ever end up getting extended? Does he come back the same player, right, with that broken leg? Again, that was nasty. So we'll see what happens with that. But Bortolini in the future, Dalton Tucker in the future. We already have Q, and you got to assume at this point, Bro's going to retire here. Like, what are we doing if Q doesn't retire here? Especially when he's back to being All-Pro Q, Hall of Fame in the future Q. So he's here. Ryman, we essentially got left tackle of the future already. So I just think the future of the offensive line good with Anthony Richardson. I think we're looking really good from that front. But Anthony Richardson, again, a lot of these guys, they just have to get the reps together as we continue to go forward. But, again, looking through it and looking at all the numbers here, we already mentioned Joe Flacco, 22 of 38, throwing the ball a lot. He threw the ball, 45 times last week. So throwing the ball an awful lot, but kind of has to because we don't have JT. We ran through the running back numbers, 8 for 51, 18 for 29, no rushing touchdowns in this game. And then we ran through some of the receiving numbers already. AD comes out of this game with only 2 catches, 9 yards. Alec Pierce, 4 targets, 0 catches in this game. So from one game to another, Alec Pierce, almost ends up with 0 catches last week and then explodes in the fourth quarter. No catches this week on 4 targets, which is crazy. Dio had a forced fumble in this game, but we had no fumble recoveries. Julian Blackmon almost had 2 interceptions in this game. Had one bounce, hit his hands, but it hit his face mask as well and bounced off. But he ends up with an interception near the end to really help the defense. Then pass deflections. Womack, again, multiple pass deflections in this game. Jalen Jones, pass deflection. Grover Stewart, Raekwon Davis both have pass deflections at the line. And then Jalen Carlisle. And nobody with a massive amount of tackles in this game, which is because Will Levis and the Titans offense kind of trash. And not keeping possessions going for their offense. So Zaire Franklin, Jalen Jones both come out of this game with 6 total tackles, 5 individual for both of them. So coming out of this game, did we get any sacks? Does not appear so. Nope, another game, no sacks. Tackle for loss, Zaire Franklin had one. Nick Cross had one. Defensive line, once again, just underperforming without DeForest Buckner. Clear deficiencies. Looking here, I'm not seeing. Latu has 2 tackles, so he's not being what we thought. Defensive line, man, we really hyped that up for them to not be very good this year, huh? And again, I know DeForest Buckner has a massive impact with that, but boy, the inability to be able to fill any part of that hole and for us to have any viability on the defensive line without DeForest Buckner, it's crazy to see the effect of one guy, right? And man, and I don't want to say it's scheme and it's coaching. That defensive coaching staff clearly isn't it. We've talked so much about it, and we talk so much about Gus. I don't think the other parts of the defensive staff get talked about, and I thought, hey, maybe – Charlie Partridge, he's been around football a long time. Pitt, even though Pitt wasn't an incredible football school, right, he's been able to get that defensive line over there to have some production. So I thought coming in, hey, maybe he'll be able to coach our guys up and we can see a shift and we can see things to where we're getting more pressure on the quarterback. We're getting less pressure on the quarterback. Sack numbers are down compared to last year. So overall, and if you hear the lawnmower, I apologize. Neighbor out there mowing the lawn. But I just think overall, I'm not going to lie, I lost my train of thought because of the lawnmower. I don't know if you guys could hear that. That was right there. Oh, right. We're talking about defense, right? Talking about defense, defensive line. That's where we're at. Talking about that defensive line and like what other changes need to be made. So I feel like from the offensive point of view, I feel like we're doing fine, right? The development that we see from those guys, the coaching on that side, play calling from Shane. Obviously, Shane's not perfect, okay, but from what we see. From the offensive side, we can put up points for the most part. In most weeks, we can put up points with the best of them. So that's not an issue. It's just we need to overhaul the whole defensive staff, and that's what's become readily apparent. Now, there is some parts of that secondary that look good, right? Jalen Jones, Nick Cross, in the development with them. But I think we're at a point where it is the entire defensive staff that does need to be changed out. And I think that's a discussion that should happen as well. We talk, again, so much about Gus, but it's just been disappointing, right? We have all these pieces that we've drafted. We bring in Raekwon Davis, second year for Tommy Ade, and he's had good moments. He looked good in the preseason. It's not translating all the way to the regular season. We're just not getting consistency from the defensive line, and that hurts so many parts of the defense. Like, we can talk about the secondary all we want, but we have pieces in the secondary right now that are pretty good. Right, when you look at Julian Blackmon, Nick Cross, that duo seems pretty good right now. Now, not perfect. If you think about last week, right, all the big plays that we gave up, Julian Blackmon, Nick Cross, they're not perfect, but this defense, again, not perfect. So, but I think as a safety duo, we have a pretty good one. When you think about Womack stepping in, Samuel Womack stepping in, just like I tried to tell people, like, coming from San Francisco and the depth that they have in their secondary, just because he was on their practice squad doesn't mean he's not good. It's nice that Chris Ballard went out and saw that, right? For everything you say about him and all the flaws that he has, he went out when he had to find somebody and he found a guy. Samuel Womack's been incredible for us. Jalen Jones has been really good with his development. He looks like he's going to be probably cornerback 1 in the future. Womack looks like he could be cornerback 2 of the future. And then all of a sudden we have Juju Brents as a depth piece, right? And obviously Kenny Moore there and whatever happens after that. But I just think, when I talk about the secondary, of course, to link it back to the guys in front of them, right? The defensive line, and the defensive line has to be able to affect the quarterback. They have to affect the quarterback. We have to get into passing situations so that the line has a chance to really affect the quarterback. What we haven't done is look at the Titans. I haven't looked at any of the Titans stats. I mean, I guess defense really did their thing. Obviously, we end up giving up a touchdown after an interception. So without turning the ball over, we probably win this game by more. But Levis ends this game 16-27, 95 yards and a touchdown. That touchdown was from the turnover. He threw a touchdown to Nick Westbrook-Akina, who never scores touchdowns except against the Colts sometimes. But Will Levis also, of course, the interception. Could have been 2 interceptions, but only 1 interception. Tony Pollard, though, 17 carries, 93 yards. The run game, once again, an issue for this Colts defense. You have 6 carries, 27 for Tajay Spears. And then Will Levis, 3 carries, 15. Ridley, 1 carry for 9 yards. Now, there were different things, right? One of those penalties for the Colts was a massive defensive holding call. Or no, it was illegal contact on Jalen Jones. Now, ticky-tack, if you ask me. He just kind of put his hand on D-Hop's shoulders. He was going down the field. I don't know if he redirected him, like it was when they showed the replay, I wasn't sure they should have thrown the flag. Like, I see why, but it seems soft to me. And I know a lot of different parts of the NFL are soft nowadays, so it makes sense, but I didn't like the flag on Jalen Jones there. But nonetheless, it was 3rd down and it was getting thrown away out of bounds, and unfortunately, they end up with a 1st down. I think they went to score on that drive. I'm pretty sure. I think that was their 3rd quarter touchdown, if I'm not mistaken. But, Oh, that's right. We're just going through stats here. So he ends up with 4 catches, 54 yards. Tyler Boyd, 3 catches, 19 yards. Treylon Burks, 1 catch, 10 yards. Then everybody else had 1 catch. Tony Pollard, 3 catches, -5 yards. Tight end, 3 catches, 6 yards. So we we kept the clamps on everybody for the most part. Defense, really can't complain with the defense today. Again, we only give up 10 points for the most, probably, if not for the interception at the 27-yard line. So pretty good day by the defense. Offense putting up 20 points, finding a way to get to 20. So see what you guys are saying here. Your defense was not great, but they got the stop when we needed it. Yeah, absolutely. Daniel, Mark, Michael, J.A., appreciate you guys stopping by. My dad in here in the chat. Appreciate you guys all stopping by here. Was it pretty? No, but a win is a win. Yeah, a win is a win. We're 3-3. 3-3 is a lot better than 2-4. Right? At 2-4, we're talking about definitely not making the playoffs and just being a developmental year, through and through. So at 3-3, we give ourselves a chance, right? And let me, while we're just sitting. AFC standings here. Oh, wait. Let me go back. I like the view I had before. Yeah, here we go. Let's just look at it like this. Boom, exactly what I wanted. Okay, so where are we in standings now? Of course, there are games going on, and while we're already at it, let me go ahead and pull up scores from the other game so we can kind of see. Jameson Williams, 37-yard touchdown. Love to see it. Anybody that plays fantasy football, Jameson Williams got a 37-yard touchdown. All right, let's come in here. So when you look at it, and again, some of these games are going. Chargers are up 23-0 right now on the Broncos. Broncos getting smacked in the mouth. So are the Cowboys, 34-6. But that's good information. Chargers 2-2. They already had their bye week. They're going to go to 3-2 after the win. We're at 3-3, right above them. Broncos going to go to 3-3 with the loss, and they're right above us. So with the way that'll go, there's going to be some sort of tiebreaker there. But nonetheless, we'll be 3-3. When you look at the top, Chiefs at 5-0. Texans got the win today. They are now 5-1. Thanks to the Jags fumbling the bag a couple weeks ago. A couple weeks ago. They were just about to beat them, man. They almost beat them, and they let C.J. Stroud and the Texans get them. And nonetheless, Texans 5-1, Baltimore 4-2, and the Chiefs are on their bye week. Chiefs do have their bye week this week. Baltimore at 4-2, the Bills at 3-2. Did the Bills already have a bye? Did they have their bye this week? Am I tripping? Oh, no, the Bills play Monday Night Football. Okay, so Bills play on Monday night, but they are currently 3-2, and they are playing the Jets, so they probably 4-2. But, interim coaches, there's a thing. Interim coaches usually win their first game for some reason, so they could Jets could come in and, so either way, if the Jets win that game, both of them are 3-3. If the Bills win, they are 4-2. If the Jets lose, they are 2-4. But if the Jets win, both teams will be 3-3. Steelers currently beating the Raiders 22-7 right now to go 4-2 presumably. So don't want to fall behind, right? So when you look at it, Chiefs, Texans, Ravens, Steelers, Broncos. That's what, 5 teams. Or no, Broncos are about to lose. They'll be 3-3. So there's 1, 2, 3. If the Bills win, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams ahead of us, and we'll have the same record as a couple teams. So, in the thick of it, when you talk about playoff positioning and whatever that might mean for us later in the year, but nonetheless, we are in the thick of it, which is really all you want, right? As a fan, that's really all you want, is to have a chance to have fun football to watch. Let's make it to the playoffs. Let's just make it to the playoffs and see what happens, right? By the end of the year, man, you could see some of these guys develop, and all of a sudden we're putting it together, right? A lot of the guys that we have injured beginning of the year, maybe they can come, right? DeForest Buckner, come back later in the year. If we can just stay alive, stay afloat, find ways to win games, if we can get kind of healthy at the end of the year, Juju at some point, I don't know if Juju can come back this year, but if he can, bring Juju back and have him as a depth piece for what we're doing, right? And I just feel like if we can get healthy, we can compete with anybody, right? As long as Anthony continues to develop. Even with the defense being what it is, we can put up points. We can put up 30 a game. If Anthony can hit the spot, we can put up 30 a game. There's no doubt in my mind. So, going forward, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Of course, we have the Dolphins next, who, of course, are having a rough go of it. You talk about injuries, they're having a tough time with injuries as well. So I feel good about us against the Dolphins, but that's a scary matchup. Our secondary, they have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and we'll see what happens with injuries throughout the week, but that's a scary matchup. But we should theoretically win that game. Glad we got the win. I didn't get to see the game. Yeah, I actually talked to somebody else in Indy that said that they didn't get to watch the game either. That's tough, and I'm sure, you're probably busy or something. But nonetheless, I did hear about somebody else not being able to get the game on today. Got a lot to work on, but you never argue with winning. Exactly. Yeah, take a win when you can get it. Because Bradley is the problem. His system puts the defense flying in a tough spot. No imagination on D. Fire guys. Yeah, and that's the problem, right? It's just no imagination. It's all the same. And that's the part, like coaching and just going along with different leadership. Like, you got to put your people in the best position to succeed. And that's just not really what Gus does, to be completely frank. Like, for Gus, it's okay, I'm going to have my system and we're just going to plug guys in and we just need them to execute. Guys got to execute. If it doesn't work, like, I guess it doesn't work. It's too bad. These are the plays we have. Instead of just adapting to the players you have, being able to see these guys can attack in these ways, and this is how we need to go about it. Gus doesn't change, which is why you want a guy like you're mentioning, Robert Saleh. Of course, that's not going to be this year, but Robert Saleh finds ways to get his defense to attack. Now, he had a lot of talent in San Francisco, and there's no mistaking it. San Francisco has a bunch of talent on defense. They sure did when he was there. But I feel like, again, and I'll continue to say, I feel like we have a lot of talent on defense. We just don't have the right guy to put our guys in position to succeed, which is a massive part of it. So you're absolutely right when you say that. Titans game in the books, we win. Next game, who wins the game between us and the Dolphins? Like, there's a choice. Right, yeah, and again, I expect us to be able to win that game against the Dolphins. Did you get the message I sent? Linebacker, what? So did you send a message, like a comment here on YouTube, one of my posts maybe? Is that what you're talking about? Or did you send a message on Twitter maybe? Let's see here. Go to try to find it. Big one on the road. Wish I could see the game as well. Yeah, and again, I apologize for not being around today. I'd even put out the thing. Oh, I see what you're saying. I had put out, the message earlier that I was going to stream, but again, just had something come up. I was, got the thumbnail done. I was about ready to go. I was about ready to go live. Something came up, something that I needed to take care of. So ended up not streaming the game, unfortunately. But do expect to be able to do that going forward, assuming we're not going to continue to get bombarded with hurricanes. Should be able to stream next week and the weeks going forward. And hope to be able to do that for those of you that can't watch the game, right? That's like the main focus of doing it is being able to do that, right? I'm head down here in Florida. I'll turn it on. I'll watch it. You all come hang out. That's supposed to be what we do. So that's what we'll anticipate doing going forward. With this message, the linebacker there in chat, I don't know how you guys see it. It says linebacker there. But here on my phone as I'm looking in the YouTube comments, it says Eric lineback 3540. But this says, I am officially off the AR train. I'm an old school football fan. He hasn't proven shit to me. And that's the way it'll go, right? Like, he hasn't proven anything to anybody. Okay, you can hear the guy that's mowing. Yeah, straight dedicated. Yeah. Yeah, I thought he was done on this side of the house. I guess not. But yeah, I mean, moving off AR, he has to play to prove anything, right? So it's really what we're looking for is sorry, looking at the Colts. Once again, perfectly symmetrical. But just, you need him to get experience. You want to see him develop. Josh Allen, I'll just keep pointing back to Josh Allen, right? The development that it took for him to get the reps and to really become an NFL quarterback, right? So I'm not going to give up on AR. I would deplore you guys to not give up on AR. I think he's going to be fine, man. I think we're going to be fine with him. And just got to give him time. Got to give AD time, right? He's got some fear that he needs to get over, and he's got to grow up. He's a young guy. These are all really young guys, man. Really young guys. They got to continue to get tougher. They got to continue to be mentally tougher as well as physically tougher. And that'll come along, right? A lot of veterans on the team, and we'll see what happens. Again, how realistic is a Super Bowl? Probably not much. But, hey, let's stay in the hunt. Get guys healthy as the year continues to go along. And then at the end of the year, let's see what we can do as the young guys develop. So, great to get a win. Great to be 3-3. It's great to be back doing content. I appreciate you guys for stopping by, man. It's I need some of this in my life. I need Colts football in my life. I need some more of you guys in my life. It's stressful. I'm not going to lie. It's stressful times down here in Florida. Just trying to get back to normal life after 2 straight hurricanes, just trying to get back to normal. Just had a conversation a little while ago with somebody. Just want to get back to normal life down here in Florida. But we're working towards it, right? Working towards it. And I appreciate you guys for stopping by. I'm going to continue to pump out content, right? Michael Pittman Jr., absolute dog. Absolutely right. But going to have some extra time because I work on the water, so things are a little wishy-washy right now. But so I'll have presumably some more time here and there to do some more content. Might go live at some point in the middle of the week or whatever. But do plan to be live on Sunday. Again, I appreciate you guys stopping by. If you're not already subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Have notifications turned on. I want to start doing the community posts too and doing polls and more community posts, kind of getting your guys' pulse on different things that I see on Twitter. And I think you might get notified for those. Don't hold me to that, but I think you get notified for community posts as well. But nonetheless, subscribe, notifications on. I appreciate you guys so much for coming to hang out. And I hope to see you guys very, very soon. All right, so take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful Sunday with the football that we have left. And, of course, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go.